Alright, wrap-up time for Souleater Combo in Modern. And I have to say the deck looked pretty impressive on video. We went 4-1 in matches, only losing to Burn, and got a ton of turn 2 kills, and it was really fun to play. The thing is, I think we got a little bit lucky for two reasons. And because I think we got a little bit lucky, I think the win rate for the deck would actually be quite a bit lower. There's no way any deck, really, or is going to win 80% of the time, and definitely not Souleater Combo, because there's a lot of inconsistencies built in. So how do we get lucky? Well, first off, we didn't have to mulligan a ton. There are definitely times with this deck, since it only has 8 actual creatures, Spirit Guide and Chancellor of the Tangle don't really count since they're mana sources that we don't plan on casting. Since we only have 8 creatures though, a lot of times we have to mulligan until we find one. There are very few cases where this deck can keep an opening hand without one of those creatures, and that's maybe if you have like multiple Faithless Lootings or multiple Gitaxian Probes, or you've already mulliganed a couple times, you might just have to hope for the best. But really, this deck has to have a creature in their opening hand to really be able to function. And we had our creature in our opening hand pretty often. We didn't have too many games where we just mulliganed into oblivion and lost to ourselves. Other reason I think we got a little lucky is the matchups. So this deck, one thing that was super clear and super impressive in the videos is it's going to win quicker than basically anything in the format. That's one thing I actually liked about it. We run into, in fact, a deck that kills you on turn 2 or turn 3 pretty consistently. We're going to beat Infect most of the time because we're faster than Infect. Burn, other combo decks, it doesn't really matter. This deck might be the fastest deck in Modern, or on par with like Griselbrand or something where you reanimate Griselbrand on turn 2. This deck can raise just about anything. The problem with the deck is it doesn't take that much disruption to be able to ruin the entire thing. Because we have to play our Kiln Fiend or our Emulating Souleater on turn 1 is the idea, and then we gotta pass, so no matter what else is going on, our opponent's going to have an opportunity to kill our Kiln Fiend or our Souleater. Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile, any 1-mana removal spell, and there's not much we can do about that. Like, yeah, maybe we somehow had like a ton of mana sources, and we can play a 2-drop and have an extra mana to leave up an Apostle's Blessing, but most of the time we just have to run it out there on turn 1 and hope that our opponent can't kill it. If they don't have the bolt, if they don't have the path, then they're extremely likely to lose on turn 2. But some percentage of the time, they're going to have the bolt, they're going to have the path. But we ran into a bunch of decks that don't have a lot of interaction. Infect, Eggs, Land Destruction, Affinity. These are decks that are built on racing and not really on disrupting the opponent. And we're just faster than they were. And that came across in the matches. In fact, we beat them. Affinity, we beat them. Burn actually provides a challenge because they can beat our creatures. So I think we got a bit lucky, both in the matchups we ran into. If we were running into decks that are really built around Lightning Bolts and Path to Exiles, we would lose a lot more often. So if your meta is full of those type of decks, fast combo decks, decks that aren't really built on controlling the board and more built on trying to goldfish their way to victory, we have a great percentage against those type of decks, and we happen to run into a lot of them. So my overall impression of the deck is it is like Blistering Rage on steroids, and if you're going to run into decks that don't have Pass and Lightning Bolts, this deck is pretty absurd. One final thought. It's very similar to Blistering Rage. It is faster than Blistering Rage, and it is probably better than Blistering Rage. The problem is, it is magnitudes more expensive than Blistering Rage. So, is Souleater Combo, for someone who's budget conscious, $600 better than Blistering Rage? Maybe even more than that? Or 300 and some ticks better than Blistering Rage? I'm not really sure. Like, if you're going to go to a tournament, I think you would win more games with Souleater Combo than with Blistering Rage. But I don't know if it's worth it. I don't think either deck is going to be tier 1 in the format. They're both cool and unique and different strategies. but I just don't know if paying $700 for Souleater Combo is a wise financial move. On the other hand, if you have these cards, feel free to run it because it's really fun and super explosive, and it is going to win you games on turn 2 relatively consistently. Another thing would be to just change up the sideboard. You can cut half the price off the deck by knocking the Tarmogoyfs, the Ley Lines of Sanctities, and the Geist of St. Traps out of the sideboard. The transformational sideboard is one of the cool aspects of the deck, but I don't know if it's worth the amount of money that goes into it. So anyway, I had a ton of fun playing Souleater Combo. It was super sweet and just a blast to play. I'm glad we played it. And that's been our Much Abrew About Nothing for this week. Make sure to vote for the instant deck packs all next week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.